We are with Christine Reinhardt. She comes from Australia. She works for Reinhardt Consulting, and she is attending our extension forum of El Consorcio Lechero here in Pucón. Hi, Christine. It's a pleasure for us to receive you here in Pucón.
Thank you for your question. It's been a real pleasure to be here at the Extension Forum and to hear from the Extension officers here in Chile about the challenges that they're facing. And they're facing a lot of the similar challenges that we face in Extension in Australia. And I've been very impressed by the enthusiasm that the Extension officers have to learn and to improve their skills in Extension. And I think they've got a really bright future because there are some really enthusiastic people there who are helping them to move along that journey. And there seems to be a lot of cooperation between the industry groups and the Extension officers.
Christine, which is your vision about the Chilean transferences, what they told you at this forum, and what did you share with them?
Some of the tools that I shared with them were about adult learning principles, the principles of how adults learn. Some adults like to learn by doing. We don't all learn in the same way. Some people like to learn by reflecting on what they've heard. Others like to see how they can put that learning into practice in what they're doing. So I was teaching people how to think about the different learning styles that adults have, and also to go through a learning cycle. So to make learning most effective, you need to go through a cycle that involves an action or an observation, reflecting on that action, then coming up with some conclusions about that from that reflection, and then planning for how you can act in the future, maybe in a better way. The other things I talked about was facilitation tools. I think that learning should be fun, and there's lots of tools that you can use to make learning fun for adults. Even adults like to play games and do things where they're not just sitting down in a chair and listening to someone talking. So, for example, we did an exercise where people lined up according to how they felt their skills were in Extension. And then we talked about what skills that they needed in doing their job as an Extension officer and where they would like to be with their skill level in 12 months' time. The other sorts of things that we use is mind maps, even having toys on the table for people to play with, because some people like to learn by using their hands, they're tactile learners. Other people like to learn by moving around. And so that's where games are good. Going on field trips and bus trips are other ways that you can appeal to those sorts of learners. And then again, there are people who do like to learn by reading or seeing or hearing other people talking. And so a lot of the extension we do involves group work, where people work in groups with a facilitator who take them through some questions to identify their issues and how they might overcome those issues and what information that they need.
At the end of the forum, which do you think are the most important challenge for Consorcio Lechero to do in the extension way, in the extension area?
Yes, the outcomes at the end of the forum, we had a facilitation exercise where we looked at the skills that people were wanting in extension, and there were quite a lot of skills that people felt that they could improve in. So I think one of the challenges is to meet some of those extension training needs and how to do that with perhaps limited funding, and also to meet all those different needs of skills for the extension officers. There's such a variety of industries that the extension officers are working in, and with farmers at different levels. So it's meeting the challenge of all those needs of the different extension officers. And I think one of the good things is having forums like this to keep that networking going, because this forum was a great networking opportunity for different extension officers to come together and share their ideas and to share their challenges, their obstacles, and learn from each other. So I think one of the things is to keep that networking going. People are all busy and time poor, and so it's how to do that networking in a very efficient way that don't take people away from their day-to-day work. But we can do that, I think, with modern technology a lot better through emails and different forums. I think one of the other challenges is that farmers can be overwhelmed by all the different people coming to talk to them. This is what's happened in Australia, and farmers sometimes get confused by mixed messages that they get from different extension officers or agents. And so I think there is that challenge of having some cooperation between the different providers of information and knowledge to farmers, so that farmers don't get confused and they don't put up a brick wall to hearing information from extension officers.
Thanks, Christine, for visiting us. We'll hope to see you again here in Chile and visit us again.
And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you. And I'd like to especially thank the Consorcio Lechero for inviting me to speak at the forum. It was a really wonderful opportunity, and to meet all wonderful people from Chile.